What if the progressive overload principle is wrong, and that's why you're stuck? So what is progressive overload? Well, we could accurately say, as it relates to your training, always increase the challenge. But there's a more common, generally accepted meaning that's been promoted by fitness and bodybuilding magazines since the 50s, and that is always go heavier. In other words, always increase the weight. It's one of the most coveted weight room principles that you're absolutely using whether you know it or not. And this comes with some big limitations and possibly dangers to your progress. Now, you know your boy here loves some seriously heavy playtime. I even compete in it regularly and have done so for years. But for longevity and a more authentic connection with yourself, you know that hippie shit I love to wax on about, let's approach this principle a little differently. Here's the problem with the idea of always increase the weight. Nope, wait. What about how progressive overload can actually work for you? Strength is, physically, the ability to generate force. From smaller bits of force over longer time chunks to quick, massive bits of kaboom. It's all strength. It's all levels of force development. So increasing our ability to generate force is a big goal in training. And one very objective way to document our ability to generate even more force is to have the numbers that say so. More weight on the bar equals more force development. And this is because force equals mass times acceleration, and therefore more mass, more force. But we cannot be simplified into basic mechanical lever systems. Focusing on just adding weight is not a sustainable trajectory for two big reasons. One, there are so many other factors to consider. The biggest one being quality. Yeah, I know, we've been here before. And two, which ties into one, more weight often means less quality. Technique can just go to hell. Now, I know we're human, and feedback is identity. And too often we don't trust our own feedback. We could call it the epidemic of disconnection. The objectivity of numbers, like weight on a bar, offers evidence of progression. More weight seems to equal a better you. But too often these numbers stop being an aid in our progress. They become the goal. And despite the idea being sold to us as a version of embodiment, no connection achieved. Hippie shit fail. Quality means control, balance, smoothness, understanding a movement. Then add load, but only if you can keep that quality. Intensity through embodiment. And progressive overload is just one ingredient to that embodiment burger. When it becomes the most important ingredient, chances are we're no longer training for embodiment, just for those numbers. In other words, we stopped working out to make ourselves better. We're just trying to make the numbers higher. And these are not synonymous goals. But numbers are not to be ignored. Love them, strive for them, just better. Learn the movement first. Being connected to the quality of the movement is what your body will be grateful for. How about an example? So to keep it simple, let's follow these three guidelines. First of all, do you actually know the movement? Do you understand what happens during the movement? Second, can you control the movement? Have you embodied it enough to actually perform it properly? And finally, if you make it heavier, is it going to change the movement? And right here, I have a classic example of that. It's, in my mind, the king of supplemental lifts, the bent over row. One, know the movement. Understand that a row is being able to get the shoulder blades back, being able to understand the muscles of the back to pull the shoulder blades and then the elbows back. Two, can we control that movement? The strength goal to build those muscles, to build that strength, is to focus on those middle back muscles between the shoulder blades. Their job is not to take the shoulders upward. We got big traps for that. These are the middle and lower traps. Their job is to pull the shoulder blades back, maybe even towards the butt. And they're super important. They're super important for so many other skills that we wish to build. To move heavy things around in other ways, to move in many ways, climbing, jumping, whatever. Understanding those muscles is key to so many other skills, which is why I think the bent over row, rows in general, but we'll focus on the bent over one today, are such an underrated supplemental lift. I'm ranting about rows, sorry, let's get on with this. So one, understand the movement, shoulder blades coming back, elbows coming back. Two, can we control it? This is where it gets tricky, because to pull against gravity, which is what we're doing with dumbbells, or free weights in general in this case, we're not using cables or anything like that where we can see the line of tension. Gravity is our line of tension. Gravity is what we're pulling against. Understanding this movement means getting parallel to the ground. Controlling this movement means staying parallel to the ground. So the more angled up I am, either the easier it is or the more we're shrugging up. And here's one other quick point of control. At the top of the row, when I'm doing my full squeeze at the top, it's really easy, once the elbows start going back, to let the shoulders round forward. Be careful of that. That's part of this whole control thing. Shoulders are back and down towards the butt. I have a straight line, my shoulders come back and towards the butt. If I start making this heavier, does that change the movement? Number 3, this is not a clean where I'm trying to explode the weight. We're not trying to move as much weight as we can quickly. And so if I get parallel to the ground and I squeeze the shoulders, squeeze, elbows follow back towards the butt. Hold, keep the shoulder blades back. Then at the very end, the shoulder blades come down. Squeeze, hold, control, down. Even if I go a little faster, squeeze, hold, control, down. We're not trying to gain momentum by popping the weight up and then pulling ourselves against it. It makes a much heavier weight a lot lighter, because if it's already moving and I'm pulling myself towards it, that's not the control. That's not the understanding of the exercise that we want. It's not using those upper back muscles hardly at all, which means step 3, does it change the movement if you're going heavier? Absolutely. It's a different movement at that point. So that would be a huge fail of progressive overload. You've skipped steps 1 and 2 because step 3 turns it into a different movement. Adding weight is a huge benefit if 1 and 2 stay in place. This all seems to make sense to talk about in my garden gym, where I have weight and I can add weight to this bar, tree, branch, because more weight on the bar is still a tool to help achieve my hippie shit goals. An objectively stronger body is an integral part to my value system. Truth is, I only have a vague idea of how much these weigh. I just know that if I add a little bit more, it's heavier. I don't focus on numbers, I focus on the quality of the movement, and then maybe I'll add a little bit more to my bar. There's a freedom in not knowing exactly what I'm lifting, where I can focus instead on the quality of the movement, on the embodiment of the movement. But I still do love a good weighted barbell, and I still do love seeing the weight go up. Having that objective idea of getting stronger is one tool in my progression arsenal. But more weight is only one way to stimulate that success, and it must be in partnership with quality. Instead, I'll focus on the variety of all the other possibilities: position, speed, control, and I'll always be focusing on the 3 Ps. Be precise, be present, be purposeful. Yeah, that hippie shit I always talk about. That's changed my life and changed my approach to movement and strength entirely. Quality through awareness is one principle we apply to all BodyTribe programming, with the big lesson of learning yourself beyond the idea of just going heavier in your workouts, which all begins with the Initiate program, which, by the way, is free. The link is in the description, so click on it if you're eager to try some authentic programming that enables you and embodies you to create your own journey. Thanks for watching, thanks for clicking the appropriate buttons down below, and thanks for inspiring, because you do. Remember, you matter. Treat yourself and others accordingly. And this is what happens when you wait a day to film B-roll in Appalachia. The temperature drops 40 degrees and the wind picks up, and you can barely form words with your mouth. Nah, nah, nah. Hippie shit fell.